Hello, today is the day. Today is the Iron Orchid Designs holiday release, and as you can tell, I am super excited. If you have ever used a product from IOD, whether it's stamps, transfers, paint inlays, or molds, oh my goodness, I'm sure you have just been amazed by the quality and how cool they are and how much you can really use them for. I have a lot of videos here that you can check out for past releases, but this is the holiday release, and it's a little bit different than the normal releases because every single one of the items are a limited release. That means when they are gone for good. The good news is, at the recording of this video, I have everything in stock in my booth at Plaza Antiques and Collectibles Mall in Lincoln Park, Michigan, and online at shoptheturnedleg.com. But don't wait too long because I do expect it to sell out as it has in years past. Now, today, I know there will be a whole bunch of channels on YouTube that will be putting out videos showing you the holiday release for making ornaments and more traditional holiday decor, like signs and things like that. I decided to find some items in my death pile of projects. You know what that is. If you are a crafter, I'm sure you can relate. It's projects that didn't quite go as planned, so they're sitting and waiting, or things you just haven't gotten around to. So I've attacked my death pile. I found some really cool things, including a piece of furniture that I'm going to give a makeover with the new holiday collection. And I am also going to give a makeover for 2 items that I found on a recent thrifting adventure to Ohio. And if you didn't see that video, you want to check it out. All of these items, though, perhaps are not the traditional holiday items. And I think that's a good thing. In fact, I'm going to go as far as saying I think you could use almost all of these items throughout the year. And I also hope that what I do here today will also inspire you to work on some really cool projects yourself. So let's get started. Let's first take a look at that piece of furniture that needs a makeover. Let me take you into my garage. This is the area where there's great projects. I have this piece that I just kind of stalled on. I don't know, those of you that do projects, this is an all metal dresser, obviously vintage, really cool piece. And I started painting it honey, and I didn't really like this yellow color on this piece. We're gonna give it a makeover and get it ready for the new IOD holiday products. This is DIY anvil, cottage color, paint and top coat in one. Really important when you use these products that you mix them well because it's paint and top coat in one. No prep is needed. You just paint and you're done. And the DIY cottage colors paints, they pair so good with IOD because you can paint and then do everything you need to do just right away, especially if you're a little anxious like I am. So I'm going to mix this up real good and then get started painting. Does anyone else have a death pile of projects? I do. I want to give it a makeover so it'll be more updated, much prettier to use as a holiday serving tray, or maybe even like a hot cocoa station. In my last video, I went thrifting down to Ohio and I found a few items that are going to be perfect to make over for this holiday IOD release. The first piece that I'm making over is this like mirror picture frame thing. And don't worry, I got a lot of flack for picking this piece. A lot of people were wondered what I was thinking. I think at the end of this video, you are going to be quite surprised when I show the reveal. So stay tuned for that. I am painting using weathered wood from DIY Paint. This is the original formula. No top coat in it. and it is going to be the perfect base for what I have planned. The finish on this has seen better days, and I want to touch it up quickly, but still keep like the character of the wood. Debbie's Design Diary has this product. I use this as a water-based stain. It is dark and decrepit. It is so easy just to kind of refresh what you're working on. And it also has a built-in top coat. You do want to mix this. The nice thing about this product is it's not gonna ruin the piece. It's just gonna darken it a little bit, touch up a few areas, and give it a nice protective coating. This is my fourth and final project. It's also out of my craft stash. It's been sitting there for a while. What a great tray. And I'm going to darken this up and really make it perfect to use for the holidays or pretty much any time of year. I'm going to use the same product, Dark and Decrepit, on this area just to darken it and update things. Whenever you're painting or staining baskets, you want to make sure you're really working it in so you don't leave any glops behind. This is the next part. If you remember, it's a part of the tray. I'm not leaving it natural wood. In fact, I want to put a green on it. DIY paint has a cottage color. This is garden sage. It's a pretty green, but I actually want it a little deeper. Let me give you a tip. You can take any DIY paint cottage color, take some of the original DIY paint, add it to it, and tint it. Make sure whenever you're color mixing that you make enough for your entire project. So this is Garden Sage. I'm adding a little DIY paint Eden to it just to get the color that I want, and then I'm applying 2 coats. Now for the fun. Let me introduce you to the first transfer from the new release. This is the Winter Botanist. What a beautiful transfer. There are 5 transfers in the release. You can see them all at shop.theturnedleg.com. Picking the transfer you want is always the hardest part, but I really like this one with the tree. If you've never applied a transfer before, it is just so simple. I always call it like a glorified sticker, but I always feel that that's like insulting the quality. I just peeled off that part on the back. Once you do that, it can stick to any surface, so you do need to be careful. I am going to center it, and then I'm going to use the tool that comes with the transfer just to rub it right on, and it releases. You will then need to apply a top coat, but what a difference this has made. For my next makeover, I am using the IOD Clementine transfer. Once again, this is a small transfer, 8 pages of pretty items. So hard to choose, but lots of smaller ones. So this will be perfect on the box. Now, actually, this was a little bit larger than the box itself. So the great thing about the IOD transfer is that you can cut off what you don't need and kind of reattach it to make it work. I don't know how it always works, but it does because IOD really thinks about their products when they're creating them. So you're going to see me then adding on some of the things I took off, and I love how this turned out. Now it is time to seal your transfers. To protect them, I'm using DIY Big Top. It is my favorite top coat. The paint has dried on this project. It does dry lighter. And now we're going to add some of the brand new molds from IOD. There are also 5 new molds with the release, but I'm going to be using the Victoriana and the Winter Forage mold. If you've never used molds before, you do want to coat them with a little bit of cornstarch. I'm going to be using my molds with air-dried clay, but you can use them with resin and even for baking, so lots of uses for your IOD molds. Getting my air-dried clay, I'm using IOD air-dried clay right into the mold. I'm using my finger and that little applicator for my transfers just to smooth off the edges. I'm trying to work fairly quickly so that things don't dry out. If you're making a lot of molds at one time, you can do them a little batches at a time and put them in a freezer to kind of keep them until you need to work with them. I like to glue my molds down immediately while they are still drying. I'm using Titebond wood glue, and I'm also using a Q-tip to kind of spread the glue evenly. You could also use a paintbrush, and I am going to paint the molds immediately, and I'm using the same color, weathered wood from DIY Paint. If you paint your molds very gently while they are still wet, you will have less chance of the air-dried clay drying too quickly and cracking. And so you want to make sure to give them a good coating all over to prevent that. The dresser is also done drying, and it is time to apply IOD molds. I am using the IOD Transfer Clementine. I still have a bunch left for this dresser. To find the center on the dresser, I am measuring it so that I can get it directly in the center. And the application of transfers are the same, although it's a little bit more difficult. On a vertical surface, I could take the drawer out, but I didn't do that. Just line it up, and then you're going to apply the transfer. The frame and the molds have dried, and in a few spots I did have to do some touch-up paint, but now I'm going to remove the beautiful sunset picture from the back, and we're going to update it with something a little bit different. I cut a piece of cardstock to size, and I'm going to find a transfer from IOD. This is the Christmas Joy transfer. And besides painted surfaces, you can also apply transfers right to paper and put them in frames. So lots of uses and applications. This is really a simple process. And because I'm putting it in a frame, I won't need to seal it. But I think the frame needs a little bit more work. I don't want to leave it like this. I don't want it looking new. I want to age this piece. But first, we need a little sparkle, and I'm going to pull out DIY Golden Ticket Liquid Patina just for that. And I am dry brushing. So what that means is I'm putting just a little bit of paint on my brush, actually wiping it off on the drop cloth, and then I am going over just the high areas to give it some contrast. And you can use more if you need to, but I would start off with very little in the beginning and then kind of find what you like as you go. I also didn't worry too much if some of the golden ticket got on the lower areas, but I really love how it turned out. Now it is time to age the piece. I am getting back out DIY Dark and Decrepit. We are just going to go right over everything and not only give it a top coat, but stain the piece and make this look aged and awesome. And now it is time to use one of the new IOD stamps. This is Holly and Pine from IOD. There are 5 new stamps in the holiday collection. To prepare your stamp for its first use, you want to use 220 grit sandpaper on it just to kind of activate the stamp. You'll never need to do that again. I'm peeling off one stamp that has a really pretty rose. I'm going to be putting it on this backing. This was the protective cover over the stamp. You want to keep it for a backing. I'm using IOD black ink. IOD does sell a wide variety of colors, and it is archival and really some of the best ink I have ever used. When you lay down your stamp, you want to commit, and then you kind of tickle it. You kind of rub it down with one hand and hold it in place with the other to get good contact. And I'm going to be putting this right in the bottom of that sweet little trinket box. All of the projects are completed, and I am so excited to share them with you. I'm curious too, as you're watching this, which project you liked the most, which project had the best makeover. I do have a favorite project. Of course, I always love saving furniture and making it pretty. So that turned out really nice. I like the other projects too, but I have to say my heart is really with that like bear claw mirror thing that I got thrifting. I just had an idea in my head and I'm just so pleased that it actually turned out exactly like I was thinking. I was kind of going for like a Victorian Adirondack theme, you know, like think old cuckoo clocks and all of that. And I really think I achieved that look. And that is what is so special about IOD. They make these products that just can inspire you and suit all of your project needs, no matter what your taste or your design. And now I think I'm really going to be on the hunt for like an old clock or a clock case, because wouldn't that be fun to make over with the same technique? Enough talking. Let's get into the befores and the afters. I hope you enjoyed all of the makeovers with the new IOD Holiday Release. Remember, you can get all your paint products at shoptheturnedleg.com while supplies last, and also in my booth at Plaza Antiques. I do want to also let you know that my next video is for you booth owners. Somebody asked a while ago in comments, they wanted me to share my biggest mistakes. It took me a little bit of time to get up the courage to do that, but look for that with my next video. I've been a booth owner for over 10 years. I'm going to share my biggest mistakes with you to hopefully help you prevent them too. Thank you guys so very much for joining me as always. Now get out there to salvage, repurpose, and create.